our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kanta at programang Tatak Pinoy. Napapanood at napapakinggan kahit saan ka man. Streaming worldwide. In South Manila, this is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Discover the best kept secrets in metaphysics, law of attraction, science, and spirituality, and listen to practical mystics from around the world. Let's open Pandora's box with Reverend Reg Stan, your metaphysical minister, here in Practical Magic, your practical mystic source, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Salam, everyone. I am Reverend Reg, and I'm here again for another episode of Practical Magic, where we talk about tools that are available to all of us to make our lives easier to handle. Especially, we know we're going through a lot of transformation from 2020, and it's continuously challenging us to grow and expand. And I want to share something with all of you, which I got from my feng shui teacher and also my Reiki master. And she was saying, we can actually change the trajectory of our lives by realizing that we have three kinds of luck: our earth luck, our human luck, and our heaven luck. So there's not really much we can do about our heaven luck. And at the same time, with our human luck and then earth luck, these are the things that we actually have control over. So today, I'm so happy to share with everyone that we have one of the best industry leaders in the Philippines. And, we're going to talk about how caring for our environment can actually help change our karma, especially our karma for the better. So before that, I want to invite everyone to simply close your eyes and just touch your hearts and just be in that space of gratitude. Feeling all the blessings that we have received last week. And please chant Satnam with me 3 times. One for ourselves, the next one for someone we are praying for, and the third for our country, the Philippines, and the rest of our global village. Satnam. 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 Satnam, everyone. Thanks again for joining me with a simple chanting and feeling how blessed we are, because we know that despite of what's happening around us, actually we are still so blessed in so many ways, but we really have to open our awareness so that we can multiply that kind of experience. So one of the things that I want to share with everyone, when I was starting the show Practical Magic, one of my intentions was to make people understand that metaphysics, although it's a branch of philosophy, it does have a lot of practical value in our lives. It goes beyond rational thinking, and it teaches us how do we actually work with the laws of the universe, so that whatever seeming limitations we have at the moment, we will be able to transcend them and be able to expand, change, and grow more delightfully in such a way that it will create emotionally satisfying experiences for ourselves, and at the same time lift the vibration of the people, plants, animals, and the rest of the planet in the seen and the unseen world. So before we start, let me just introduce to you our very special guest today. And let me read to you his very interesting bio. And it's very amazing because I had the privilege of talking to him many times. And in fact, I know that I've mentioned many times to all of you that I was a student of Dr. George Heason, who already passed on to the next dimension. And I'm very grateful that through the Temple of Prayer, Peace, and Prosperity, which was the ministry of Dr. George Hison. I was able to meet our guest today, Arnel Caranto. So, Arnel Guadalupe Caranto was born on October 25, year of the rabbit, under the astrological sign of Scorpio, and he is a man deeply in touch with himself and the universe at large. He believes in the universal law of cause and effect and of sowing and reaping, which, if summarized, would simply mean your actions today will definitely have an effect at the moment or sometime later. Because of this belief, he continually tries to find ways to spread good, knowing that it will bear fruit one day. As deep as his beliefs are, so are his academic and business accomplishments. From 1984 to 1995, Mr. Caranto had immersed himself in many different fields. He took up aeronautics at the Pat School of Aeronautics in Manila, computer programming at the Technical Resource Center of the Philippines in Makati, and introductory courses in theater arts at the Cultural Center of the Philippines Institute at Bulwagang Gantimpala Theater Foundation, and he also took up management at the International Academy of Management and Economics in Makati, and took advanced courses in film making and directing at the Film Institute of the Philippines. His accomplishments include being a well-known uh, producer at ABS-CBN Channel 2, Regal Entertainment, and Trimedia Exponents. His work experiences include media and campaign strategist, promotional and press relations executive, marketing director, associate executive, line and supervising producer, and creative consultant at movies, television shows, and multimedia productions. Mr. Caranto had handled major projects in his lively career, several of which were major events in the history of the Philippines. In 1998, Mr. Caranto was the strategist, marketing executive director, and one of the line producers at the Philippine Centennial Celebration, mainly the People's Parade held at the Rizal Park. It was sponsored by Jollibee Corporation, Shakey's, Philippine Star, and many other big corporations. 2 years later, he was commissioned to handle the official Philippine Millennium Celebration, which was held at the Rizal Park. This time, ABS-CBN Channel 2, Philippine Airlines, Nestle Philippines, along with 10 corporate product categories, Coca-Cola Philippines, The Aristocrat, and Pizza Hut sponsored the event. He has produced and managed popular films and top-rated TV programs. Some of his famous works are The Mother Studio Presents, the widely acclaimed Ipaglaban Mo, the Maricel Regal Drama Special, Bedtime Stories, Regal Golden Hour, Regal Shocker, In Bulinggit, Humor, Facts and Humor, and TV sitcom gag show Going Bananas. In addition, he handled countless multimedia projects for both private and government agencies with over 2 decades of experience in the industry. He's also the founder of Life Incorporated, together with Mrs. Belen Arking, and supports Father Remo Bati, a non-stock organization focusing on global concerns, particularly human values education geared towards conservation and proper stewardship of our natural resources, and has come up with various lectures and workshops, modules, utilizing multimedia approaches for specific audiences like students, trainers, lay people, corporate, and public officials, to name a few. And Mr. Caranto is actively involved in the following organizations: Climate Reality Projector Mentor, Lifelong Initiatives for the Formation of the Ecosystem, National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Media Communication Committee Member, St. Joseph the Worker, Vicariate Head Coordinator, Community Affairs Ministry, Peace and Order Council of Makati City, UCS, UCSO Fed, United CSO Federation Chairman, NAPOLCOM NCR, and his present work in prints are the graphic novel series entitled Wilfred, Guardian of Nature, which was launched in Power Books, sponsored by the Royal Netherlands through the United Nations Development Programs and Haribon Foundation. Also, the Earthen comic book and the program entitled Images of the Seven Art Forms in cooperation with the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Satnam, Arnel, I am so excited to have you here on the show. Especially, we talked about this so many times.
Yeah. Good evening, Reg. Thank you for having me at V8 Radio Manila.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you because finally we're able to put into reality whatever it is that both of us talked about,
Yes.
a couple of months ago. And one of the things that I really want you to share to our viewers, I know, Arnel, you have a very colorful work experience. Especially, one of the things that really stuck with me was you were used to making horror films. So, how does one person get used to, making horror films, and that preoccupied most of his time, end up being an environmentalist years later.
Well, when you were young, all you have in mind is just to work and to earn something. And
Mm,
I'm so adventurous. So whatever field is there in front of me, I'm willing to dive into it. At that time, I think that was 1986. I'm still trying to find my space,
mm,
what career to pursue, but at the back of my mind, all I need is to earn. So
yes,
yeah, and in 1986, that was when ABS was turned over to the Lopez's again because it was closed a long
yes,
time ago. But prior to that, um, I trained in ABS as in the technical department in the engineering.
mm,
So I know somebody who is in the management, so I was able to enter as a trainee. So
yes,
I studied camera works to be a cameraman, a technical guide, taking care of the lights, design, and the audio system, things like that. So I
yes,
started really from the bottom by pulling out the cords of the cameraman of the camera. Then eventually, I learned how to handle camera shots and things like that.
yes.
And then from
Thank,
there, I realized I will not going to make it in the technical, in the engineering side. So I decided to befriend with some people in production.
mm,
So it's like a jump ship, from engineering.
amazing.
Since I know, yeah, sabi ko, I will not be hired here because of some political, all the
Yeah,
people there are related to each other. While in my case, I'm just, a new kid on the block who doesn't know anybody from engineering. So I jump ship into the production. And then in the production, I become a production assistant in 1986, I think 87 in ABS. And then since I know how to handle camera, Regal Films before then is producing so much film. They're the
yeah,
movie factory in the Philippines, producing
yeah.
173 films in a year. So I
Whoa.
was tagged along. Yes, I was tagged along um, to shoot the before it's so common to promote the film by going around theaters, with the artist, and it should be covered by a camera. So I'm the cameraman there, while going around theater at the movie houses. I shoot it, and then we showed it in the Rumors, Facts, and Humors TV show, which was produced
Wow.
by Regal Films and aired by ABS-CBN. And one of
Yes.
the event, Manny Valera and Mother Lily was in the bus together with me. It was, I think, the movie of Pops Fernandez. Yeah,
Mm, mm.
I'm shooting there, and I was able to talk to them, and voila, I become an
Amazing.
associate producer right away. Yeah, they got me, and I was so young, and I started being their associate producer in Regal, handling several TV shows like Mother Studio, Maricel, the ones you mentioned, and Regal
Yes.
Shocker,
Yes.
things like that. I think I'm
You know,
handling around, yeah. I'm handling
Yeah.
around 70 show at the time. Yeah.
I feel very nostalgic because we used to watch the films, the horror films that you're mentioning, and I remember it was always somewhere you had to stand up. The cinema was always full, and my dad had to carry me on his shoulders, and we would watch all those films, shake, rattle, and roll. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you here on the show, Arnel, because imagine I was very young, I'd watch those films, and then little did I know I'm gonna meet a friend who's actually behind those films that I was watching growing up. So anyway, before we continue, please share the feed of our show to your wall so that the rest of our friends can actually see it. Some of our friends, like Amelia Berlin, is also saying hi. So let me just share our link to our walls. Some of our friends are actually tuned in, and I'm sure some of them would like to say hi or just want to catch up. So, hi there, Amelia Berlin and Chuchi. You told me to send you the link, so I got you there. Anyway, Arnel, I'm so happy that you actually brought up that you had to start from something small because you have a similar story with our big boss here in V81 Radio. So please tell us about it because I know that it takes a lot of dedication to actually move from one type of job and then move up the ranks and at the same time not lose your emotional drive to actually make progress. Because we know, like you mentioned earlier, when politics gets in the way of work, it can actually diminish you looking forward to bigger and better things. So I'm happy that you had that kind of emotional stability and resilience to move forward, despite you feeling that there was some form of politics at work. So please tell us, how did you remain collected even when you were going through something like that?
Well, at that age, I was so driven to earn money for my family. So
Yes,
nobody can stop me. And
yes,
I believe I'm a very adventurous man and very
yes.
determined. And because I was forced to do it,
Mm.
nobody will do it for my family. So I have no
Yes,
choice but
yes,
to do it. And
yes.
in the process, because of that passion, I was able to build my name in terms of
Yes.
creative things. Actually, Regal is I have to thank Regal for giving a break to be there to
Mm.
begin with as their associate producer. I'm not only producing
Yes.
TV show which are horror but also drama. You know,
Mm. Yeah,
the shows that really capture the interest of the public. You know,
yeah.
it's like media is a medium to really cage cage you, you know, in terms of your consciousness. It can really capture your interest to a point that you can lose yourself. You can
Mm.
identify to the characters and you believe that you are part of that scene or that story.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's how to do it. I become also their content officer, you know, trying to feel the vibes of the masses, which one will rate, which one will have a huge viewership. In fact,
Yeah.
during that time, we occupy the 1 to 20 top rated TV shows. And
Yes.
that means our body is supposed to be 45 minutes only. But the advertisers, you know, the station
Mm.
tells us to limit our body to only 42 minutes before we are fully loaded in terms of commercials. So it's
Mm.
really, you know, occupying the house of several viewership. We have a huge
Yeah.
viewership. That's why we're loaded with commercial. It's really money making thing. And at
Yes.
that time, I was so young. I'm so young, and that's it. All I have to do is to work and work and work. But I'm not thinking of a career that that I will go
Mm-hmm.
far from this. Doesn't enter my mind. Um, just to realize all the opportunities around me.
Yeah.
Celebrities, top celebrities calling me for guesting, things like that, giving me gifts, all the perks,
Mm.
because you are the one in charge of casting and giving breaks to the director, approving the script in a way, something like
Mm.
that. So you are on the top of the world in terms of the
Yeah.
industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're handling the budget and everything, and eventually you'll be surprised at the height of that thing. I gave it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
resigned.
that's exactly something that was I am very sure that a lot of people are actually puzzled by that decision of yours, because you were at the height of your career and you were thriving, the momentum was there. And what actually made you decide that you were going to leave that lucrative job that you have and then shift to something which you felt passionate about?
Well, it took me 3 months before Regal released me, and before um, resigning, before truly getting letting go, they doubled my talent fee for three
Nice.
months. But I still gave it up. You know why?
Yeah.
Um, because I was so religious at the time. I grew up in
Mm.
a church, in a Catholic church in San Ildefonso, and I realized somehow, um, other than the environment in the showbiz industry, it's like politics. It's like
Mm-hmm.
politics. Yeah, in the showbiz industry, though there's a lot of money, and you're so popular and you're so powerful in some ways, but the content I'm producing there doesn't it doesn't suits my mind already. I
Yeah.
realized that the
Yeah.
content I'm producing, like, you know, horror films, and horror TV. What are the elements? You should have a kabaong there, a casket. You should have a candle, a blood, things like that. And in
Yes.
drama, somebody should be ape, somebody
Yes.
should be,
Yes.
a villain or things
A
like that.
victim.
And
Yeah.
a victim. And I realized these things are shaping the consciousness of the people.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
how they think, how they live their life, it really affects them tremendously. And
Yes.
entertainment is a very strong form to motivate everyone, everybody. It's in terms of education. Education is senses entertainment yan eh.
Yeah.
So in a way, I felt that it took me some time to give it up. I
Mm.
feel so, in a way, not happy anymore with so much money in my hand.
Mm.
But this is business. This is show business. I got the theory of doing to make to be hooked in my shows. It's like that.
Yeah.
After realizing that it's not doing good to my spirit and to the people that is watching it, so I finally decided to let it go. So that's one of the turning point for me to give it up. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Arnel. It's such an amazing thing that you're bringing the topic of consciousness, because for our new viewers, we keep talking about consciousness here in the show. And one of the things that I want to add to what Arnel was saying, the programs that we watch on TV or in our mobile phones or laptops, whatever that is, the reason why we call it a radio program or a TV program, because basically your consciousness will actually pick up and record any information that you're watching or hearing from the shows. So it's going to record it, and it's actually going to come out of your life as an experience. And
Uh,
whether or not it's going to be delightful or something that you're going to feel bad about, the moment that your subconscious mind picks it up, it's going to reproduce whatever you have programmed yourself into doing. And I want to add an amazing fact to what Arnel was saying. They made a study in London where whatever it is that we're doing constantly for about 10,000 hours, it does something to the consciousness, especially to the brain, where it actually makes you think that that's the reality. But the truth was, through the process of repetition, you were only able to absorb that as a reality because of the action of repetition. So, Arnel, I'm so glad that you had the conviction to leave a high paying job and then realize the effect of your work to the rest of the community. So from the horror films, and I know you were making a lot of money, which I think is a good thing because in metaphysics, we see money as a neutral form of energy. So it's actually how we're going to use the money that will create more good or will create more limitations in our experience in a way that Arnel was saying earlier, there was politics in his work environment. So I want to ask Arnel later for his money manifesting tips because I know him to be a guy to be one of the most powerful manifestors when it comes to demonstrating large sums of money. But before that, we'll pause for a short commercial.
We'll be back shortly. This is Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio Manila. O, di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow na. Want to see who will bring home the win? Get ready for Napalm Music Awards. Now back to Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Satnam, everyone. I'm back again for Practical Magic with our special guest, Mr. Arnel Caranto, the founder of Life Foundation, which is an an advocacy who has an advocacy focused on the environment and climate change. And I was telling Arnel earlier because I know him to be one of the most powerful manifestors when it comes to demonstrating large sums of money. Because in metaphysics, we know that money is actually neutral, but it's how we're actually going to use it that will create more delightful experiences for us, or it can create more limitations. So I want to ask him for his money manifesting tips. Please go ahead, Arnel. I know you have amazing money tips for us when it comes to demonstrating it.
Well, mental programming is one of the key elements of manifesting your desires. Sometimes you are wondering why the rich people keep on getting rich and the poor people keep on getting poorer. I believe this is basically because of their mental programming. And why some people manifest quickly and some manifest slowly. Again, it has something to do with mental programming. I believe that when you are young, 0 to 4, 50% you were already programmed. Your mind is already programmed from 0 to 4, 50%. Because the information that's inculcated to you by your parents is like a god to you. Whatever they say at that age, you believe. If you are programmed to be a poor one, keep on telling you that we don't have money, it sits down to your subconscious. And then from 5 to 9, another 45% will be programmed in your mind. So that means when you are 12 years old, you will be exposed in schools, you will be exposed in social gathering, in religion, in your faith, things like that. So another programming will come to your mind that will make a 95% you are programmed. So that means your reaction is already automatic. It's a program. Now, um, like in my case, I used to believe that we are poor. That's why I work very hard. Yeah, I work very hard to it. And after training, attending several trainings, to break those negative programs, it can be broken. It can be, you can go to your real essence and values and try to sort out your thoughts and your beliefs. So it's really at the end of the day, it's really focusing yourself, knowing thyself. You should know truly your values and your essence, which came from when you were born here on earth. You have it already. That essence, that value is you. But this value and essence was covered by these negative programs or positive programs.
Thank you for that,
You're
Arnel. That's
asking
such a
me,
powerful statement. Yes, it's such a
yes,
powerful statement.
I'm telling this not only theoretically. This is what I realized in my life, and even it can even go deeper and deeper in terms of the bottom line is spirituality. It's really knowing yourself and who you are, and breaking the negative programmings that you have in mind. That the society, your parents, that the parents you learn from their parents and their parents, and that's it. I think, and with that note, that can be a powerful tool in terms of manifesting your desires in life. But eventually, that your desires in life will shift only, shift also. But because before your desire are all materials, all these things, but in the process, if you are dealing with conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, in a way, these are tools for you to really know yourself as a spiritual person, and things become so automatic to you. I had a lot of experience in that case. In the beginning, it was so theoretical for me. We used to affirm, verbalize it, you know, um, embrace all the techniques that we've learned, the visualization, writing it. But eventually, it's really being quiet, getting in touch with yourself, knowing who you are and your gifts, your talents, your essence. And in that case, you're manifesting your happiness. It's not limited already with the things around you. The
Yes,
one you will
Arnel.
manifest, yeah, the one you will manifest. This is my personal opinion and my personal experience. I don't because um I don't nobody will I don't think everybody will understand or believe to what I'm saying, but I'm talking in terms of my experiences. And I
Yes,
don't even study um, metaphysics formally, but it's more of the experience. Well, I read a lot of books, and from that books, I dwell into my own experience that create another book for me, the book of my
all
life,
right.
the book of my faith. Yeah, so that's it. It's not that simple. It's a lifetime work. But the bottom line for me is knowing yourself. Because you want to have money, want to be successful, you have to want to be powerful. But what's the bottom line? The bottom line is you want to be happy, you want to be peaceful, you want to be loving. You know, that's the bottom line. Other than the pleasure that the material things that will give you. So
Yes.
that's
Thank you for that, Arnel. And in fact, I'm so excited to talk about the value of having money in terms of being able to do more for the community. And we'll talk more about it, and we'll be back later. And now we're just going to pause for a short commercial.
We'll be back shortly. This is Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Coming soon on Napalm Season 3. If you rock with them, we gonna roll them. Get ready for Napalm Music Awards because your new all-Pinoy alternative music source is about to bring the house down. Abangan at tumutok lang tuwing Sunday, 1 p.m. dito sa Napalm para sa mga updates. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, Manila. Now back to Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Shatam, everyone. I am back again for Practical Magic, and I am with our special guest, Arnel Caranto, who is the founder of Life Foundation, and the advocacy of it is actually focused on the environment. And it's very interesting because Mr. Arnel Caranto used to produce horror films, and then he shifted from producing those kinds of films, and then now he's focused on his work in the environment and climate change. In fact, I was gonna ask him about, because he was talking about the money and how he used to make a lot of money from the movies, and then he shifted to doing something for the environment. And it's something that he initiated on his own, and he even came up with his own comic book. So, Arnel, it's nice to have you back again.
yeah. Well, again, thank you for having me. Well, if I may continue regarding the money, don't take me wrong. Money is a creation. Uh, Everything is created by God, and we co-created this money as a medium of exchange. So money is good. Money is good. It gives you a lot of privileges. It gives you a good life, the life you want to live, because it's a medium of exchange. And I believe money has a certain intelligence that you can match to. And I'm very amazed with how God works into how we created the entire planet and the ecosystem, not only the nature, but the human ecosystem.
Yes.
It's really a perfect creation that it is designed for us to grow. It's really a school. Planet Earth is a school. We are in a big school. And this money are tools for us to be committed, to do something good, to be passionate to work and share our talents. And this is in exchange of our services, of our energy. So the reason I joined before ABS and the broadcast media is because of money, actually. And eventually, I realized that the key is balance. The key is balance, and really to be in your senses, in your elements. I shifted to environment because in 1998, um, which is the time when I was very much into meditation because I'm already attending TAP with George. I also went to several uh, taught schools like SOM, things like that. I'm very much into books, metaphysics books. And then from then on, I stopped working for 3 months. I think this was 1998, 1996, 1997. I stopped working. I really paused for a while. For 3 months, all I do was to meditate and read books. Though at the time, I have no money at all. But I really tested the principle, the new thought principle, the law of attraction, the metaphysics, all of this principle. And voila, after 3 months, people calling me to handle projects and giving me so much money. So I attract them. So this is how it is. This is how it works. The law of attraction and the new thought metaphysics thing. So I experimented on it, and then there was one time which I earned so much money, millions, in 2000, and I bought two cars, and then I decided to go to Mount Banahaw. I was brought by somebody with tappers all. I suddenly thought going to Mount Banahaw. Mount Banahaw is a mystical mountain which we know here in the Philippines. So I went there for an immersion for because I have so much, I don't know. I suddenly want to rest there, and from there, I keep on coming back, and I had a mystical experience, and I believe I received a message, and that message was captured by that comic book. This one. This was captured by this comic book. It was a message. It was a message that I received from Mount Banahaw, and then from then on, I met similar-minded like Mrs. Belanti, and the church asked me to go back, but I told them I'm into environment, and then I was able to set up, I call it ministry of several churches, and eventually the foundation, Life Inc. Um, this was 2005, and then it was registered in 2007, and I live my life. Environmental advocacy is not just a theory or a principle that you do. It becomes you. You will own it. It becomes not only part of you. It becomes your life. Environment is a very spiritual thing because if you will look at nature, if you will look at the pattern of the nature, the birth, the death, and then the rebirth again, how it grows. That's how we are. Automatic yan. It's like it's a natural thing for human to be like that. So from then on, I realized the importance of the environment in my life and the things that the concern of the environment in in this planet. I don't want to be so sarcastic about this, but we are killing the planet. Yeah, because this is a big discussion. I'm also involved with naman with Al Gore and with the government. They got me as a consultant in some national agency, which who published my book, and I told them that there's a very crucial line between development and environmental care because development and economics drives through consumption. You know, we are being programmed to consume and consume and consume. And all of these things are
Yes.
coming from the environment.
Thank you
We
for
are eating
sharing
after.
that, Arnel.
So
Yes.
that means it's really a balance. A balance. That's it. It's really a
Yes.
balance. It's a hard balance to do it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that, Arnel. Please look into your Facebook Messenger. I think there's a message for you. Are you able to
Messenger.
see it? Yes, Facebook Messenger.
Let me check. Facebook Messenger.
All right. So anyway, I'm so excited that we're actually talking about the planet aspect of this. For most of my friends who also went to Miriam College, our college at that time, we are also advocates of doing things for the environment. And it's just important for us to discuss this because we can't really have a solid plan to thrive this 2021 if we're not going to include the planet as part of our agenda, as part of our goals this year. Because, like what Arnel was saying earlier, if you know that money also has value and it can be used to actually fund important projects like what he's doing now, especially it's very creative of him to actually come up with a comic book called Earthen, and he's actually working with Al Gore as well for our global village in terms of checking what's necessary right now for climate change. So Arnel, we'd like to hear more about what you and Al Gore have been planning on climate change, especially how is the Philippines doing in terms of performance, contributing to the greater health of the planet?
Well, actually, it's known to the world that the Philippines is one of the most diverse um, country.
Mm,
We are so rich in terms of biodiversity, in terms of our resources. Talaga, we are very, very rich. I think we're number one, if not number two, in terms of
mm.
richness, in terms of biodiversity. But I'm sorry to say, at this point in time, we only have 10% of our forest covers.
Mhm,
So that means if we don't have the forests, we don't have the biodiversity, we don't have flora and fauna, which are the
mhm, mhm.
resources that we use in everything in our daily life. So
Yeah.
that's why it's connected, of course, to climate change. It's
Yes.
really, yeah, connected to climate change because climate change is global warming. It's We are talking about emission. We're talking about carbon dioxide. If there are no trees, carbon dioxide are food of the trees. So, actually, the one major solution to arrest climate change is to really plant trees. Because they're the one eating the carbon dioxide. But as I said earlier, we only have 10% forest covers now. 90% has been denuded already. So it's really bad. And even the Congress declare climate emergency for our country. This is a climate emergency. You notice
Thank you
it's
for
a
sharing that. Arnel,
yeah.
please educate us about what is climate emergency because I personally don't know about it and maybe other viewers may not also be familiar with the term climate emergency.
That means in COP 21, that's a conference of party that we did in the United Nations in France way back 2015. We had a conference, we call it COP 21, which was attended by almost everybody in the world at the UN. And findings by the scientists, 2000 scientists, which was given a Nobel Peace Prize, that we only have until 2030 to lower our carbon emission globally. But you see, some of the countries drop out in that agreement. It's a Paris Agreement, actually. And then after that, there's a COP 22, 23, and 24, uh, focusing on climate change issues. This is an international community headed by the United Nations, and the one studying it is the scientists, and they are releasing papers because of our carbon emission. Global warming can be irreversible already. We need to cut at least 45% of our carbon emission until 2030. Otherwise, at this point in time, we have 1.1 degrees to 1.2 degrees Celsius on a global temperature. Okay? But syempre, when it goes down to our surface, we have 21 degrees, we have 30 degrees, like that. But in a global temperature, in the atmosphere, we have 1.1 to 1.2 degrees. And if we will not going to reduce our carbon emission, it can reach to 2 degrees by 2030. Now, can you imagine how hot it is? And the hotter the weather, the stronger typhoons and tropical depression comes. We know that. That's how weather pattern is being created. So I had several meetings with the UN people regarding that. I don't know. They keep on inviting me and consulting me. Even the Climate Change Commission, they got me as their consultant in some projects and be part of the panel of technical expert. But what I'm telling them is, you know, the policies are in place, the technology are in place to arrest it. But how come we're not doing it? How come it's not happening? That's why Greta, the young kid, came out who really shook the world, and because after that COP21, there's a target to lower it, but I'm sorry to say, instead of lowering it, it still go higher by 17%. So it's going to be it's really a talk of environment and energy. You cannot separate environment and energy because energy become a necessity to us. Otherwise, we don't have technology and everything. We don't have lights. We cannot cook food. We need the energy. That's why the move, Mr. Al Gore, me as one of his mentors in the Philippines, and a lot of climate reality leaders are pushing for renewable energies like solar panel, yung windmill, biogas. Well, biogas still an issue on that. It's but in my case, if I may continue in my line of thought in terms of arresting it, I told you that we have the technology, we have the policy, because all of these things are being affected by policy. Global policy or Philippine policy, to stop mining, to at least to have at least 50% renewable energy in the Philippines, because at this time I think we have 30% only using renewable. So 70% still CO2 based, like yung gas, things like that. But what I believe personally is climate change is not our major problem. Biodiversity loss is not our major problem. Ecosystem collapse is not our major problem. Our major problem is our culture and values, value
Thank you for
judgment.
sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, Arnel. And I know that you mentioned that it will take about 50% reduction of whatever in excess consumption of whatever that means actually that affects the planet. So someone as a private citizen like me, what is it that I can do from my end to help reduce whatever in excess use of energy? Is there something that we can do deliberately every day that you would suggest to private citizens like me? Because I know if it's the government, it's going to take time to legislate a particular law and then enact that law and then get everybody to cooperate with it. But from our end as private citizens and for those people who are watching the show now, what can we do from our end to help the planet?
Well, when you talk about consumption, you're talking about lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you have? You still, it connected to the media that I've been gone through, connected to the mass programming, because we were programmed that you need to be use this, use that, buy this. It's really consumption. So our lifestyle has been dictated by the media. So if you want to help the planet, you have to check your lifestyle. You don't have to have 10 cars. You don't have to open the aircon while, the temperature is good enough in your body. You don't have to buy several cell phones, and then if there's a new one, you throw it again. Number one is lifestyle, your lifestyle. And then values is very important also, because how do you dispose your garbage, your waste? Because this waste goes to landfill, and landfill produces methane gas that adds up to the heat in the atmosphere. So you should know how to manage your waste. I, as I have earlier, there's a law already on this. There's a Republic Act for solid waste management. How come we're not doing it? And then what else? So value judgment, lifestyle, and the spirituality, the shift. You need a paradigm shift. If you will think as the environment to be outside you, not being part of you, you will not care about it. And you should the basic the reason that comic book was given to me, it's an entertainment education comic book. I believe education is the first step, because you cannot love anything or somebody that you do not know. So you have to know your planet. You have to know your flora and fauna. You have to know the environment, the nature. And then from then on, probably you turn to love the environment and stop doing harm from it. Starting, checking your lifestyle, starting to segregate your waste, starting to shift to renewable energy. So it's really very deep in you. It's if you really want to live it, you have to know it. You have to study. You have to know yourself. Your interconnectivity, because environment is about fire, air, water, and earth, which composes our elements. All of us have fire, our blood, our earth, that food that we eat, and waste we dispose, the air that we breathe, di ba? These are parts of the elements, all of them. So that means we are all connected. When this planet collapses, it doesn't recognize rich and poor, young and old, it doesn't recognize sexuality, it doesn't recognize power. We are all equal when it comes to Mother Earth in the environment. So that's the basic things. Check the laws that are available. There, all you have to do is a value judgment. I will follow this. I will do this. I will conserve. I will plant trees. That's why in our NGO, Chuchi is one of our board member anyway, and you're part of it. In our NGO, we are really pushing for tree planting and education. We conduct seminars, and we're hoping this comic book can reach the schools. Though we have started training some teachers how to use this in school, because it even have a teacher's guide how to use this. I find this very effective in terms of education, because this is entertainment education. In psychology, you need to entertain for the learning to occur. The interest is there, especially the young people. That's why I think in second grade, there's a subject on heroes. This is about the hero in you. You have to be a hero for the environment, and for you to able to do that, you have to really learn, and learn and starting to love it, because this is the only home we have. What else? And after some time, if this is gone, we owe it to the next generation. So very basic things that we can do in your house, your lifestyle, And of course, the human ecosystem. The human ecosystem is very important. Because you cannot do it alone, though you can do a small steps, but if you will bind together as a community, as a family, the impact is more stronger. Because if you are segregating in your house, but your neighbor, throwing trash in your, you know, in your bakuran, it should be a community thing. Not only a community, all of us should be in it because we are part of it and we are it. That's
Thank you
it.
for sharing that, Arnel. And I like what you mentioned that we are it. We are part of it. We're not separated from it. And that's why we're all doing things online now because it has a lot to do with how we're taking care of the diversity of our planet. And Arnel, can you please educate us about what's really happening right now with the global pandemic? How is climate change connected to the virus that we know is evolving as well? And at the same time, does it have anything to do with, uh, I just want to hear your point of view about it, how the virus actually came to be and how climate change is actually connected to it.
Well, in the beginning, the virus has done good things for the planet because the 45% that we are aiming to attain, as reduce 45% carbon emission, when the whole world is at peace, no activity, the planet was able to rest. The planet was able to, in a way, heal itself because there's no activity. All of us are just small activities, but not the industrial activities that consumption, producing, and everything. You can see it all over the place. When the pandemic is there for almost 2 months, some some skyscrapers shows that naging maliwanag. All of them become clear, even the water. So I think in a way there's a positive effect of this pandemic. But of course, it teaches us also because pandemic is also about our fauna because it came from animals. So that means it's in a way retaliating, producing these things. That means we are not doing something right. With all our experiment, science doesn't serve us anymore. I'm sorry to say. If the science serve us still, this will not going to happen to us. But we're using science against us, you know, and I don't know if you can call it intelligence because the science creating mass destruction weapons. You see, science is creating something to eliminate or to lower the way we produce human. In short, science is not. I think they are in the wrong direction now. So this is my personal opinion because the one they're creating are destructive in some ways. That's why I don't know if you are hearing the word reset, changing the economic system. It's really happening, and I hope they will consider environment because at the end of the day, wala. Pag nawala ito, that's it. The positive effect of that I told you, the COVID-19 to us, for the planet. And if you will check the statistics, there are a lot of viruses that occurred before that even killed so much than the coronavirus. Diba? The SARS and everything. That's a positive. The negative side naman is the people are not prepared for it. It
Yes.
came like, yeah, it came like a snatcher. You know, we are not prepared for it, and positive pa rin because we're not prepared. We turn to God and we turn to our family, di ba? Family become closer and people become caring, di ba? The question is, where are we going to take this? Are we going to
Yes.
let let the government, let the people who are in the higher strata decide for us, or we decide as a community. We decide as you have to have a say. You cannot just take it just like that. You get involved. You get involved, and I think if the message of the coronavirus is basically getting into yourself, going into yourself and getting involved. The bayanihan thing, to help each other, things like that, to be closer to the family, and checking your life system. The discipline came back. You know, really, people become disciplined because of this. You will not go out without the mask. You have to line up. The discipline. Probably the nature is talking to us through this. We just have to see the real meaning of this. Well, if this is a war, there are some casualties. And I believe that are only in the body. But we as a soul do not die. The spirit lives on. And I
Yes.
even believe, that we are in a simulation. Simulation here. There's such thing as post-human. If we survive the war, if we survive the pandemic and other calamities, I think we survive it. There's such thing as post-human, and this is a simulation for us. You can able to be aware of this if you will meditate. As simple as that. If you will keep quiet and try to listen to the small voice, that's what I've learned. That's what I heard in my life. I was able to hear the small voice who guides.
Yes. Arnel, please explain that further because a lot of our viewers are actually not very familiar with the still small voice. So I think it would help our audience a lot if you talk about it more and explain it to them further. That when you go into that space where you are quiet, you can actually hear the still small voice.
Yeah, because the human mind is like a TV screen. When you are like this, the mind is visualizing every second, not only second per frame. Like now, I can see you by frame. So we think that way, visual. That's why there's such thing as visualization. When you direct your mind what to visualize, um, the objective is to slow down your thinking. If you can go to the eastness, if you can let go, put down all the worries that you have, the daily, problems like the payment for the electricity, for the water, you're quarreling with your neighbor, your children, your husband, your wife. If you can put this all of this thing down, problem will not go away. Don't worry, put it down. Leave it there for a while and have an empty mind. you know Go to the eastness.
Right. I think
That's
that's
basically.
amazing, Arnel, that you're sharing about the isness of experience. But for a lot of people, these are actually very fresh terms for them. So will you please elaborate on it?
Well, siguro to exercise it right now, you are thinking, dear audience, you are thinking right now, and there's a lot of thing going on into your mind. Yeah, if you can control that mind to think, talk to that mind, be still, be quiet for now, please. Be quiet. Just keep on repeating it. Quiet. Be quiet. Please be quiet. And then you pause, and it can be quiet for a time, and then I'm sure the problems that you are cuddling is there, babalik na naman yan. So again, if you can make it a practice to sit down at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, just to tell to your mind, hey mind, can you please be quiet, let it be. Basically that's it, quieting the mind. And then And while quieting the mind, as you practice it every day, you will hear a voice. You will hear definitely. And that's the real you. That voice, that's your essence, that is your value. That's the God in you. Which He is
Yes.
always, this mind keeps on talking to you every moment, every second. But you are so filled with so much thing, kaya hindi mo marinig. So for you, if you want to hear that voice, how can you hear somebody if it is too noisy? So the first step is to be quiet. Sit still. And then if you reach 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a daily practice, within 24 hours, you're only giving 15 minutes, things will happen to you. And then eventually, siguro you can couple it with reading good materials and listening to Reverend Reg and other consciousness guru. Yeah, you need all of these things to recreate our mind, to recreate our consciousness.
Yes, thank you for sharing that, Arnel. And I want to add to what Arnel is saying, because Arnel was saying that, when we are quiet, we get to pay attention to the still small voice that's actually giving us wisdom, what to do in the moment, and to be able to pause from whatever is taking up our worries for the day. So I'm glad that he's actually bringing it up, because from making horror films, that he knows that it can actually program our consciousness. And just going back to our discussions before, when we talk about consciousness, the way we're talking about it in the show, you have your conscious awareness, the one that's aware that you're actually watching this or hearing this. And then there's the programmed consciousness, which is your subconscious mind. And then there's the super consciousness, which is what we call the Christ mind, Buddha level of the mind, our connection to Mother Nature. And this is the reason why I love having Arnel with us tonight, because one of the most powerful energies that we experienced before the Lunar New Year this February, popularly known as the Chinese New Year, we had such an amazing, powerful shift of planetary energy the past week. And my numerologist friends are actually saying, no matter how dynamic and auspicious an energy is, if we don't have a well directed awareness, like what Arnel was saying earlier, the one that you can source from your still small voice from within you, it will still work against you. That's why we're talking about these things, because no matter how limited the circumstances may be at the moment, it's going to be a temporary inconvenience compared to the payoff that you're going to get. Especially, I applaud Arnel, because what he did to shift his career, his high paying job in the movies, and then doing this for the planet, it's really, really awesome. And that's why he was also recognized by Al Gore. And at the same time, he's actually mentoring Al Gore. Did I get that right, Arnel?
Well, yeah, we are mentoring a lot of people to be. But again, I told them the solution is basically the work that we're doing is very good, influencing people, being awareness of what's really happening to the planet. But the bottom line is really it's cultural and spiritual transformation and
Yes.
value judgment. And with that meditation, the easiness and everything, that's the key to get all what you want. That's the
Yes.
key to
Thank
manifestation. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Arnel. And I want to go back to my introduction of you, because I know you're an advocate of the law of sowing and reaping, which is actually one of the universal principles that we keep talking about in the show. So please explain in your own words how this can actually create practical magic for our viewers. Because one of the reasons why I was so excited to have Arnel on the show. Whatever limitation you have, even if you think it's not connected to your personal life or your professional life, whatever concern that you think is difficult at the moment, if you will be able to shift that anxiety from that area where you feel so limited and give a chance to pay attention, be of service, contribute to the planet Earth, it can create practical magic for you. So I want to give Arnel the floor to explain to us how it can actually serve us in the in the concept of the law of sowing and reaping.
Well, again, it's a natural law. What you sow, so shall you reap. If you planted a seed of a mango, so you expect a mango fruit. Don't expect a car to be born by that mango. You know,
Yes.
if you sow a seed of goodness, so this will bear fruit in terms of your four areas, which are your health, your wealth, your relationship, your success area. You know, sometimes you cannot
Yes.
recognize the fruit already because when you planted the seed so small, but where it bear fruit already, the fruit is different already. Same thing with consciousness. All the things we are thinking about, keep on planting and nurturing in our mind these ideas, these are thoughts, we are planting it to the soil of our super subconscious, which definitely will bear fruit. Kaya,
Yes.
what kind of seed, what kind of thoughts are you planting into your soil of subconscious? What?
Exactly.
And if you want to see the fruits, if you want to see the seeds that you are planting, check up your life now.
Yeah.
So these are the fruits of the seeds that you have planted. But it's not your fault. You know, you were programmed
Yeah.
to think this way. You are programmed to think this way and to believe this way. That's why meditation can, ease your mind, and eventually you can plant the seeds that what kind of fruit you want to harvest. If you want to have a
Yeah.
good life, so you plant a good thought to good other people. You know, if you are fighting with your neighbor in that space, in that soil of consciousness, you plant love to them. You'll be surprised. One of these days will
Yes.
send you food. Your fighting neighbor.
Thank you for that,
That's the
Arnel.
base. That's the basic principle. What you sow, so shall you reap. We keep on planting every moment, planting ideas, planting thoughts in our mind. The news that you are watching, they are planting a lot of, and you are hooked to it. This kind of thoughts that are planting to your conscious mind, to your soil. And that's the reason why some people have a difficult life. The life is so dramatic because you are hooked up with a drama movie, a
Yeah.
horror movie, things like that. That's the reason I gave it up. I told you. But I'm still doing content now. Yeah, this comic book, and I do documentaries with the PICC. So I will not give it up. So the talent that I had, which was given to me by God, I'm really maximizing it by producing content, the educational entertainment, because sisingilin ako eh. God will ask me one day,
Yeah.
what have you done to the gift that I gave you? So
Yeah.
it's good that I still have time to do it. And thank you for this opportunity. In a way, I can share some message with, I believe, um, the message from the high up there, from the universe. That's why I'm encouraging things like this. I told you before, keep on planting a good seed. Don't let's not be deceived by the consciousness around us.
Yeah.
These as the mass consciousness. These are normal now. The negative thoughts, the hardship, the fear, these are normal. And if it is normal, who wants to be normal? I rather be
Yeah.
abnormal, thinking of good things. you know,
Yeah.
thinking of
Yeah.
positive things, thinking the things that I want to manifest in my life, thinking my farm, thinking my, a good life, a good relationship. In that case, you are planting seeds already, and it will definitely bear fruit. If you're just going to take care of it like a plant, the nature show us to how to manifest.
Yeah.
It shows us. It's really, if you just observe nature, it's guiding us. This is how to live in this planet. Oh, that's it.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Arnel. And I had actually one of the most amazing things personally for me when I met Arnel was that you know how sincere he is with the things that he's saying, because a lot of his friends are actually very supportive of his projects. And that's how I know when you're just being authentic and just being very focused on your intentions, you're definitely going to draw to yourself the right people, the resources that you need, and even the amazing travel opportunities that he's been into because of him being purposeful. And at the same time, like what he was saying, if you keep sowing good seeds in your consciousness, positive thoughts, positive affirmations, and most importantly, positive deeds, we know that you're bound to create a harvest of a life experience. So thank you so much, Arnel, for gracing our show. And I want to give you the opportunity to promote whatever it is that you have for the foundation, and of course promote your comic books. There might be bosses who are watching us tonight might actually want this for their office, or whatever events that they have, and at the same time it may be connected to their advocacy as well.
Yeah, well, of course, I want to invite everyone to join us in our crusade to care for the environment, to arrest climate change and global warming. It's affecting us now, especially the future generation. If you love the future generation, if you love your children, your mother, they are the most vulnerable. If you love the poor people who are suffering, they are the most vulnerable when it comes to climate change. When it comes to education, I hope you check this out. This comic book, this is very effective. It was reviewed and endorsed by the Department of Education, also endorsed by the Office of the President, the Climate Change Commission, and the panel of technical experts. They have give the message, and they find it very effective in terms of education, especially the young ones. Not only the young ones, even the community, because of the format. It's a comic book form, and it can go to one hand to another, and it remains in the consciousness because it's so visual, and you
Yeah,
can
thank you so
feel,
much.
yeah, and you can feel that you're part of it. The comic book was created as if you are part of it, but not delineated. It's
Yeah,
a story of us. It's a story of us. So if you're interested, Reg, know how to get in touch with me if you're interested with the material, and I hope you can join us to our projects, also to our reforestation program at the Sierra Madre, because Sierra Madre is the longest mountain that protects the Philippines in natural disaster, the storm and everything, but it's denuded. So we want to reforest Sierra Madre. Ayun.
thank you
Again,
for
thank
that,
you.
Arnel. And Michael, please flash the AOB. So all right, thank you for that, Arnel. And we're going to do a reforestation project according to Arnel, the founder of Life Foundation, which is actually focused on the environment and climate change, education, and of course taking action, planting trees, and many other programs. And I also want to thank Unity Philippines Benedictine International School for supporting Practical Magic in the beginning of the first season. And do we have the slides for Arnel's comic books and his materials, Michael? All right. And by the way, I want to invite everyone, and I want to thank the International Metaphysical Ministry, University of Sedona, University of Metaphysics, our founder, Dr. Paul Leon Masters, for an incredible education. And the scholarship is actually ongoing for those who would like to have a college degree in metaphysics. You end up as a life coach, as a metapsychologist, with courses in theocentric psychology, and as a professional meditation teacher, mystical researcher, and other related topics. Next, please. Also, you can take advantage of the scholarship. So if you want to pay for it in full, it's only $990. It's also going to cover your doctorate degree from your bachelor's, master's up to your doctorate. But if you're in a tight budget, you can make a $90 down payment and then pay $25 for 48 months for the installment. Next, please. Also, I want to thank the following people who guested on the show. Next time, I'm going to have Mr. Arnel Caranto's photo here or Earthan, whatever he prefers. Uh, Dr. Anita Caprice, Dr. Diana Bihuni, Dr. Cindy Palos, my brother Anthony Benton Brown, and of course, Dr. Yolanda Dukes. Happiest birthday. I trust you're hearing this. My good friend Jennifer Hill from Awake TV and LA Talk Radio, Reverend Adam Hayden, Dr. Stephen J. Cosmina and Tene Cosmina, Dr. Kathleen Riley of Awake TV and Heart Math, and Tina Brinkley Potts. Thank you so much. And my good friend Andrew Whitburn, SP Whitburn, who guested with us last week. Also, I want to mention Sir Charlie Diaz and at the same time Sir Rolly Pagaspas. I want to thank Papa Gio, also Michael, Din, Dax, Abby, everyone in our tech team. Thank you so much. And our viewers, thank you for keeping us updated with your suggestions, your feedback. We really do appreciate it. Anything else, Michael? All right. And here are some of Arnel's materials. So it's edutainment, it's education with entertainment at the same time. And we were only to, Arnel, we were only able to show them Earthan. Can you please talk about the other comic book?
Come again. Come again. It's quite choppy.
Yes. We were only able to talk about Earthan and the other comic book. Can you please tell us about your other comic book?
Well, I have this Earthan is a three series already. The
Mm.
first chapter is entitled uh, the first chapter. There are three chapters. First chapter is illumination. The second one is initiation, and the first one is finding a hero. This book
Mm.
contains three comic book already, but I already did Wilfred, Garden of Natures, a series also, and some are campaign materials for government agencies. But now I'm more focused on the education in terms of the environment, climate change, and anything that can help human development. So again, I think this is the end of the shows.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Reg.
Thank you,
I'm very
Arnel. Of
happy to see you doing this, and thank you for the opportunity for inviting me
course.
to share my thoughts and my advocacy. So that's it. Thank you and good night to all the viewers. I hope I was
Yes,
able
thank
to
you.
impart some information, useful information to you, and you can get in touch to me through Reverend Reg. I'm open to all possibilities in terms of our work. If you're interested to be part of us, please let us know. It's most welcome. Uh, Reverend Reg is there for us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to invite everyone for a simple prayer of protection so that we can get this week started right and we can work our way happily and attract amazing blessings to us this week. Please close your eyes and affirm this with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is and all is well. Satnam, everyone. I am Reverend Reg, and I trust that you were able to get an amazing learning from Arnel. Especially, we know that whatever it is that we do beyond ourselves, we're also able to do it for our goals because there's no way we can just get all the profit side if you're referring to money or you just want to manifest a partner. One of the things that I would like to share with everyone, the beauty of metaphysics and the universal principles that we keep talking about here, the more you realize how interconnected you are to the rest of the planet, the easier it is for you to actually attract whatever it is that you're praying for or you're desiring to demonstrate. So I trust you're able to pick up those things that are most useful to you. And please let me know if you have other questions or other concerns. And remember, you are the magic you've been waiting for. Satnam and have fun.
Consistently delivering the very best in metaphysics. Here in Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Till next time, only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, your all hits, all Pinoy digital radio station in South Manila. This is V81 Radio.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan.